Today I will share my reflection number 1 in lesson 1, an introduction to Philippine history, historiography, sources, and discourses. Based on the textbook given to us, history talks about the past happenings. It's either a narrative information, a picture, an artifact, paintings, etc. As long as it gives us information about the past that is called history. History is different to historians. Historians talk about the people who created a narrative information basing the happening of the past. They went a lot of research readings to come up a story to be told that is meaningful and organized reconstruction of the past. There are lots and diverse sources of history. Those are documentary sources or documents, archaeological records like fossils, and artifacts, and oral and video accounts. These sources can be named as primary sources and secondary sources. Historians write a story after doing a deep, thorough research from the past. If they were able to correlate their ideas from different sources, they can start writing a history. A historian does not only include examination of documents, but also the use of research methods from related area studies such as archaeology and geography. There are lots of notable Filipino historians. They are Teodoro Agoncillo, Renato Constantino, Zeus Salazar, Reynaldo Elito, and Samuel Tan. Teodoro Agoncillo was a pioneer nationalist historiography in the Philippines. He was able to highlight the role of Filipino reformists and revolutionaries. His books have impacts in our Philippine Revolution and emphasizes Spanish colonization happens in our country before. Renato Constantino, it is him who advanced the idea of people's history, which means a study from the past that understand and analyzed the society. Zeus Salazar is the first one who challenged to re-evaluate our country's national history. The Pantayong Pananaw is his conceptualization as it speaks to understand the past from our own cultural frame and language. Reynaldo Elito, he tried to recognize the way of thinking of ordinary Filipino by using alternative historical sources like folk songs and prayers. Samuel Tan focuses on the Filipino Muslims and their roles and contribution in our history. In his writing, he did not just focus Christianized Filipinos, but he also looks and focuses on different cultural communities in the Philippine Islands. Our next reflection is all about the history of the Philippine Islands, an excerpt from the original work of Antonio de Morga, Chapter 8. This topic talks about the history of Philippine Islands and shared many informations like how our ancestors lived before other countries colonized Philippines. My country, Philippines, is very rich in historical cultures. Me, as a student, I should be proud of what kind of living or what kind of person the island of Philippines has before. Because of them, Philippines became well known in the entire world. By that, I am able to spread this information to the young ones and allow them to grow knowing their culture and where their cultures came from. There is this sentence from the topic, which is crimes were punished by request of aggravated parties. I just thought that even before punishing exists, even though my country is very different to Spain or America, still they are able to create a plan on how to solve such crimes in their times. This helps the society to have more safety place to live in, because reducing crimes helps the people live much happier and healthier. To continue this sentence that marked in my mind that crimes were punished by request of the aggrieved parties, I can connect this to the issue today, like for example the fallen South 44. Those 44 law enforcers who died in the battlefield lost their lives, and their family are looking for justice, that those people who is the main reason of their death should be punished. Topic talks about the history of Manunggul jar found in Palawan way back 1964 by Dr. Robert B. Fax and Miguel Antonio. And in the topic, the second to the last sentence marked in my mind, which is, for them, even things from nature have souls, have lives of their own. And that made me realize that nature is not just nature. Nature is part of our lives. Its societal effects, if we did not take care of nature, we will lose everything. We humans are very dependent on nature, from the food we eat, the water we drink, and its beauty that relaxes us. Reflection is all about the duties of the Katipunan of the Sons of the People. In this topic, it discusses the Decalogue of KKK and the duties of the Sons of the People. I realized the importance of having Decalogue to one's life. It helps us to be reminded about something and to guide us for our daily basis. And the number 8 Decalogue marked in my mind, which is, share whatever you can with whoever is needy. That also reminds me as a student that I should help my co-students in every time they ask my help. And that will help me create a strong relationship with other people. And its societal benefit is that people will not be selfish, and it will make the society more meaningful to live in. The reflection topic is all about prehistoric period. The 16th to 18th century in Spain are encapsulated in excerpts from a variety of documents written by Spaniards. The reading themes are primarily concerned with a situation from the time of the first encounter until their actions near the end of the 18th century. The 18th century gave way to the various developments of the 19th. Despite being written in Spanish, the contents depict the daily life and culture of the Filipinos during the Spanish occupation or the colonial era. The Philippines before has this chief ruled over a small number of people, sometimes as many as 100 houses, sometimes as few as 30. In Tagalog, this tribal gathering is referred to as a barangay. It was deduced that the reason for giving themselves this name stemmed from the fact, as they are classified among the Malay nations by their language, that when they arrive on this island, the head of the barangay, which is the boat, became a datu. As a result, even today it is known that this barangay was founded by a family of parents and children, relatives, and slaves. The slaves are known as aliping sa gigilid. They serve their master in his home and on his farm. Cultivated lands that may be sold if the master sees fit, he grants them, provided that he has profited from their industry, taking a portion of their harvests so that they can work. As a rest of these factors, servants born in their master's household are rarely, if ever, promoted. That is the state of war captives and those raised in harvest fields. The next topic is all about the 19th century. The 19th century was known as the Age of Enlightenment, but for Filipinos, it was one of the darkest periods in our history. Spaniards ruled the Philippines and oppressed Filipinos for a long time. We've been subjected to serve deprivation and pain, injustice, social and racial discrimination, an oppressive economic system, and a cruel church and government corruption are all common. We can't even fight for our rights in court because there is not enough room, and we can't even express our opinions because doing so will result in punishment. Filipinos, especially those at the bottom of their so-called social hierarchy, are treated as slaves and fools with no rights to own land, speak freely, or receive an education. Money and taxes are being collected in large amounts, but the promised reforms to the Filipino people are not being carried out. Officials in charge of maintaining peace and order abuse their power and inflict violence on the people. Friars are greedy and vicious people who are supposed to strengthen those who believe in the religion and in God. Justice, which should be available to everyone, is only available to those at the top of the social hierarchy. Power and money can be used to purchase laws that are supposed to cover and be followed by all state citizens. That was the Spanish government's ruthlessness in the 19th century. During their reign, the Filipino people were left impotent. The 19th century is a horrible age in our colorful history. We should not bury or forget the past because it is hard to recollect. It is also a historical reminder of how Rizal and other propagandists and heroes worked ceaselessly to recapture our rightful home. When this occurs, a genuine sense of nationalism emerges. Rizal demonstrated in the 19th century that knowledge and the mind are one big weapon, and that the pen is truly mightier than any sword in the world when utilized properly.